NIST is also under non-disclosure agreement. That's in their report. In other words, they can't say too much. So someone above them is putting these constraints on these guys. We offered to sit down with the guys at NIST or debate them, sit down, whatever, talk to them about our concerns. They declined. We had mentioned a specific time and place. And so we said, well, look, you name the time and place. We just think we ought to talk about these problems. I mean, this affects the whole world, really. The weaknesses in your analysis. And I guess I wasn't too surprised. They said a change in venue and a change in time will not change our decision. We're not going to sit down and talk.
I'm Jim Nesh. I've been in the foundry business for approximately 28 years. My expertise is I pour metal. I have a gas-fired furnace. It runs 750,000 BTUs, and I pour all non-ferrous metals, brass, bronze, aluminum. It takes me approximately, in a controlled environment inside the furnace, 45 to 55 minutes to melt brass, which is poured at 1950 to 2000 degrees. Bronze is higher temperature, but I can go to like 2350. I do not pour steel because it's too hot. Crematories are above, like, say 2500 degrees, that people are disintegrated. That if there were people in that building, how did they peek out and look or jump? How are they not melted immediately if they have a heat that intense to warp or mess with the structure of steel? How are the people still alive? It's impossible. To weaken something 50 feet away would have melted you to be in its vicinity. Logically, physically, no way could have caused a collapse in any way. It could not have affected the collapse of the World Trade Center. It's impossible.
After you let the buildings come down, you have to explain this flowing material right at the corner, by the way, which is on the north face of the South Tower. But right there at that corner, this molten metal with the orange glow, yellow-orange glow, flows out for minutes. There's a lot of it. And then right at that corner, you see this weakening, the twisting and the collapse of the building. NIST tries to explain that molten metal, which is yellow-orange color, a lot of material flowing out. They said, well, it's aluminum. That's what they said early on. And then I did experiments with aluminum and it's silver. So they came back and said, well, aluminum with, wood, chips, plastic, carpet, stuff mixed in, that they said can have an orange glow. Well, the can caught my attention. I immediately was out doing experiments, Molten aluminum, we put in some wood chips and plastic, wood ash from my wood-burning stove, and carpet pieces and glass. I mean, we're just putting all this stuff in there. Melt this stuff up, and we have a young professor here who came from NIST. He couldn't believe that NIST would say, if you mix organics with aluminum and pour it out, now it will have an orange glow. He couldn't believe they'd be wrong. But we couldn't get it. So he was working with me for over an hour, mixing this concoction of molten aluminum with wood, glass, plastic, carpet pieces. Mix. And it doesn't want to mix. That is, the organics don't want to mix with the molten aluminum. We just poured it out. He poured it out, actually. Silvery, not orange glow, no orange glow.
I melt aluminum. Aluminum is white colored, silver colored. There is no different colors in it. That's the only color it can be because it's silver colored. To have a different color in there means another chemical has to be involved. There was no melting of any structures below whatever story it was on down. So if something fell, it's going to just land there and stay there. The building's not going to fall down.